Hi, welcome back to another Keylink video. I'm Joe, and today I'm going to be looking at the most effective way to melt our Keylink Essentials white coating. So today we're going to be melting our coating in 30-second intervals. Usually you can do it for 1 minute and then move to your 30-second intervals after that, but for the purpose of today's video it's so that you can see each stage of the melting process. So let's get started. So you can see after 30 seconds here, it's still pretty solid. However, you can just start to see the first stages of melting where the coating has become a little bit more shiny there. So we'll pop it in for another 30 seconds. So you can see at this point, this is a minute total. Some of the edges are just starting to fray here. That means we're starting to get the first stages of melting. You won't really notice anything melting on the bottom here, but we'll start popping it in for another 30 seconds so that we can then get it a bit more fluid and get it towards full fluidity. This is at 1 minute 30. You can see some of the coins are starting to melt now. If you give it a hard push, you can see here it is starting to become a lot more fluid. So at this point it's best just to give it a good mix to make sure that there's no coins stuck at the bottom so that it doesn't result in any burning. So we'll pop it in for another 30 seconds. So the coating is now a lot more fluid than it previously was. At this point you want to be a bit more vigorous with it and give it a good mix and take advantage of the heat. So a bit like you would with seeding with chocolate, you want to try and melt any of the coins that are currently in there just to make it as fluid as possible. So at the 2 minute mark right now, as you can see, it is pretty fluid, but we still have some pretty hefty chunks in there. So we'll pop it back in for another 30 seconds just to get rid of those. So at 2 minutes 30 here, you can see we're a lot more fluid, almost close to kind of what a couverture would be when fully melted. But as you can see here, there are still some small bits in the mixture. So again, take advantage of that heat that's currently in the bowl and be really vigorous with it to mix those bits out. So we're going to do that here for a few seconds. And so far I'm pretty happy with it, but I can see there are still some very small pieces in there. It's mixing in with the air bubbles. So I'm going to give it a final 30-second blast just to ensure that it is fully fluid before we set it. So you can see here, this is after a total of 3 minutes melting. We're fully fluid and we've got no unwanted, unmelted pieces inside the mixture there. So this is ideal at the moment for pouring straight onto tray bake tops or making shards like we're about to in a moment. Checked our temperature and we are sat around 47 degrees at the moment. And that is around the ideal temperature there because you don't want to bring it much higher than 50 because you will risk burning it at that point. So what we'll do is we'll pour it out into our marble top here so that we can make some shards. And we'll just give it a quick move about. And then we'll come back in around 10-15 minutes once it's set and we'll break it apart so that we can have a look at the texture. So we're going to break up our white coating here in some small shards just so we can see the finish. Usually you would obviously put it into something that you could break a little bit more easily. Just for this demonstration, it gives you an idea of texture and how it sets here. So as you can see here, this is the set coating. This is on the marble side, so we've got a nice shiny finish there that's picked up from the marble. And on the other side, more of a kind of matte finish that you would expect to see if you were to pour it on a tray bake or make it into shards like we have here. So one final tip for today. If you are planning to melt this using a bain-marie, you need to take the same amount of care as you would with a chocolate couverture, because if you do get any water into this, it will seize immediately. So other than that, thanks for watching, take care.